It's the only one that I don't have a physical copy of.
Oh man, that sucks.
I still own it. Just on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Go buy it on the 3DS eShop,
look
everybody.
at all these Riplo designs. They're pretty neat.
There's a lot of neat ones. Also, that's kind of double in the back. A little bit.
Kinda.
Spoilers. Spoilers, quote unquote. So, Extreme 2. This is the one that I have arguably the least amount of practice with in general. Because, again, I never owned this one at all. I was only vaguely aware of it. And,
is this Game Boy Color exclusive? Based on the palette, I'm going to assume so.
It might be. I know the first one was compatible with both, I think. But I'm not 100% on that. I could check, but
don't worry about it.
Didn't think to do that. Immediately threw me off. Alright, so the cool thing about this one in comparison to Extreme 1 is that it pulls influence from the 3 first X games.
Right.
So the boss variety is a little bit wider. And it has... it's still kind of a goofy, poorly translated plot, but it's still an interesting plot by comparison. So it's not just like, the mother computer, go fight in the past! This one is, not only is it its own unique thing, but it's also referenced in later games, too. So it is canon.
Right. Oh, hey, Zero Mission. I remember that GBA game.
So... God damn it. So, we got, a whole bunch of stuff. We're just going through Extreme Mode in this one, because unlike the full mode in Extreme 1, this one does have story all throughout. The difference in this one is that you have the two halves of the story, is X's story and Zero's story. Zero's fully playable in this one. You can actually switch between them in Extreme Mission, or whatever this one is, at any point. So, it's kind of like the way later games, very similar to, X7 and 8. But in their base ones, you only get 4 bosses, X only, 4 bosses, 0 only, then you beat both of them and you unlock this. I preemptively did this because we're still doing the X only thing.
Right.
And you can beat the entire game as just one or the other. You don't have to switch between them at any point. You just can. Does a couple interesting things too, if you beat a boss as X, only X gets that weapon. So if you switch to 0, he's kind of handicapped that way, or vice versa. And there are certain things that are character exclusive. You'll never miss an X power-up if you don't have a 0 power-up. But, if 0 doesn't get a certain weapon, then you can't get through a certain wall, and you can't get his, armor quote-unquote armor capsule. 0 doesn't armor change, but he does get benefits and stuff.
So
we're not covering any of that.
Noticing that, first of all, she's here, and also the art overall is very reminiscent of X4. X's design in particular is...
Yeah. So, this one came after X4 came out, in general. Chronologically, it's between 3 and 4. So that's the whole Iris thing. There's actually a lot of interesting notes based on her in general, which, while we're going through the super rad Extreme, or X2 intro, but in 8-bit.
And without reading by the dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover here really quick, but I guess I'll wait until the next block of text to go over those notes. For the time being, though, I want to point out some really cool stuff in this one. So, you'll immediately notice that this stage is obviously based on the intro stage to X2, including, the music and the general backdrop and stuff, but it isn't just a copy-paste stage. Instantly you have, the hills and stuff to go over, which on its own is fine. But right here is really cool because depending on who you get to this point as, or which storyline you're playing if you're doing the 2 short games, the paths branch. So 0 has an upper route, and X is going to drop down this hole and take a lower route.
Neat.
And, it's the intro stage, so it's not you can only get all the items if you go through both routes, because that's not a thing in this. But, branching paths, different things like that. And that'll actually come up once or twice more. Fortress stages, none of the main stages are like that. But it does kind of lend itself to, hey, here's this really cool new system, and also, hey, we learned from the last Game Boy game, now everything's way more optimized. Other things of note there that I'll cover now, instead of maybe forgetting about them later, is A, there's no giant light column save point things that save your progress.
Yeah,
you can just immediately go through them, and it'll still say save or save point or something, but it won't stop you for any reason. And then the other thing is that the sound button's kind of removed in this, so when you're charging, it doesn't cut off half the music track.
Oh, that's...
As far as I remember. So...
And I'm noticing these giant green dudes are missing their legs.
Yeah, so the only reason I can assume that that's the case is because in the intro to X2, you run the bike into one of the cannon drivers and it turns it into like a special variant that only shows up in that spot. Right. And there's only like 2 enemies per stage here, really. And it just must be like, this is all it can handle, so let's just use this one over and over. Plus, it's a good intro enemy type. The interesting thing, though, is that they act like some enemies in X6 and will continuously respawn in front of you with that wireframe thing, because the claw arms don't do that. Oh, and there's one of those guys. One of those screw walls.
I'll save until after the boss fight.
Okay. So this is another big difference, is instead of being the giant mechanoid from the original one, it's a completely unique... Yeah, it's a completely unique enemy fight, which really seems like it'd be more of a fortress design than an intro stage design, but I really like this thing. Funnily enough, his name is just Skullhead. You would never know that unless you look online.
Vomit out little Sigma heads?
Yes, it does. Which is kind of an interesting reference for it to pull, because that's not something that Sigma does for a really long time. But yeah, it spawns little Sigma heads. It also has a really powerful downward laser that I never give it the opportunity to do, just charge shots. Obviously, like, it's an intro boss, so it's just really weak to the charge shot. That's that. I love that thing's design.
Yeah. You might have saw it a little earlier when the pause screen came up, and you're going to see it again when we're going through this cutscene and shit. But like last time, we didn't re-record footage for Extreme 2, so we're just using the old footage from the regular version. So if there's any weird pauses in like text and shit, that's just because we were doing something retarded when we initially recorded it.
Yeah, but there shouldn't be any text skipping or anything, so the versions are fine. Just, if it doesn't seem super natural, that's why. Speaking of natural progressions in conversation, that giant thing that just popped up was basically currency, which I'll cover a little bit later. It's going to kind of get talked a lot at us right now, right here. And I really want to preemptively mention some stuff, but I kind of don't want to spoil it at the same time, even though I have no idea how long this text scroll is going to take. So now we've got this guy.
This Monster Hunter.
Yeah. God, I want his armor on Monster Hunter so bad. So, the Game Boy games carry that medieval theme all the way through.
Right.
These names will come up in like just a second. Through like really dumb... Like right here, right here. Just, this is so... stupid.
I'm the soul eraser. I erase souls.
Of evil maverick. So they think they're good guys or whatever.
Uh-huh. Nuh-uh!
What you really do. Then, God, just, I hate this interaction. Like, it takes courage to ask someone like me what my name is.
It takes courage to call my blatant bluff interesting.
Or I guess he doesn't say his name just yet. When do you say your name? Let me move on. Fuck. Alright, so this is Gareth. He's not going to say it for a little while, I guess. Gareth, like very knight-esque name. There's another one, but I'm going to spoil it right now. But they follow the medieval motif that Gimel and Zane have in Extreme 1, which I honestly think is really cool, that it's just like, hey, here's this little side cannon, and I just love these fucking designs.
So, kill 8 dudes and they'll talk to you is basically what he's getting at?
Yep. And I love that Zero's just like, well, maybe instead of talking to this guy, we should just murder 8 guys. It's like, Jesus Christ,
and he's completely on board. So Zero and Gareth are both idiots, but they're talking on the same wavelength.
Basically. Here we go. Yeah, my name is Gareth. Don't forget it. And it's sad because, like, I love Gareth's design. I love it so much. He's one of my favorite bad guy designs, almost as much as, like, Zane and Gate later on. Mm-hmm. But it's just like... What the fuck are you talking about? And it's not even the soul angle of it, which is, this right here.
We have found unfamiliar items.
So, this explanation is so unbelievably ham-fisted. Yeah, so...
What is...
No, okay, so... DNA data is covered multiple times throughout the series. It hasn't really been touched on a lot yet at this point, even with X4, but like 5 and 6 cover it. And it's a little goofy, but it's super technology, so whatever, I'll let it slide. It's this English-ass explanation that really bothers me.
They seem to be resurrecting enemies by somehow utilizing DNA
Yeah.
instead of blueprints, but okay.
Well, no, it wouldn't even be blueprints. It'd be like IC chip duplicates or whatever. Like, if they say DNA, just assume it's the thing that's giving them their...
They are erasing the Reploid's DNA in order to create items.
Yes.
What?
Yes. So this line right here, a Reploid's DNA, I think I'm reading this in the other version too, so pardon me, is that like a human soul, so let's call it a DNA soul. It's like, you literally just called it two things that actually exist. You don't need to combine those names.
Two completely different things, so what you're saying is DNA data is not at all like a human's DNA.
Yeah.
It's their soul.
So basically, it's really poorly translated again. Even though DNA data, or like, I think even like soul stuff comes back again in like X6 or so. But again, just assume that it's basically talking about the IC chip, which is just like, okay, you've got like your individual program that develops over time that you literally, like, it's not a mass-produced program, it's something that has learned and developed on its own. So by that virtue, it's like, okay, that's kind of like, you know, the DNA that makes you unique, or the soul that makes you unique. It's just like, holy shit, you didn't explain it well.
Okay, so what I'm gathering from this is all the items we pick up in the game, like health and shit, are just souls. We're feasting on souls.
Kind of. So that's the thing that I wanted to cover, and I'm sure will come up soon-ish in this, just visually. And I'm already fucking, like, missing things that I want to talk about. So, I'll go over DNA souls in a little bit. First of all, I want to go over Iris, because I didn't get an opportunity to fucking do that before. So, first of all, the cover art is immediately X, Zero, and Iris, and you can show this off if you want. And they wanted to really drive home on the cover art that you can switch between the two, and also Iris is involved. Like, honestly, the fact that they got to put her in again was a really big deal for those guys. Mm-hmm. That was one of those save zones, by the way, that I just passed over. And now, right armor's back. I'm missing so much shit! So, I was happy that I got to draw Iris again, since she died in X4, and there was supposed to be a prequel set in an earlier time frame. I adjusted her design appropriately to reflect the shift in time. I thought perhaps she didn't wear whatever, this is design stuff. Yeah, so it's basically just they wanted to... I don't remember exactly where they say it, if it's not in that section of the art book. Basically, they felt really bad that they designed such a endearing character design, and then immediately killed her off with no development, so they were like, okay, let's fucking preemptively fix that. It's like, thank you! Like, can we just do that a whole bunch with the series? But anyway.
On one hand, retroactive spoilers for X4. On the other hand, we're not covering that shit in our run of X4.
Oh, yeah, that is true. And that's the thing, is, like, I delayed for a second to say, like, spoiler alert, but fucking everybody knows that already, so...
Like, we're not going to see her after this game at all.
In our storyline. So. Well, she's in the intro movie.
Good.
So you're not wrong, or, well, you're... Shut up. Anyway, so now back to the stage. We're on Neon Tiger's stage, which on its own is really cool, just in general.
I love those TP capsules so goddamn much.
So as far as I'm remembering off the top of my head, that's the head capsule, which I will not be getting in either... Well, it's the same footage. I won't be getting it, and that's for a really broken exploit that kind of just, like, makes the armor itself not really that helpful as a whole. Like, you don't care about it, and it's because I'm not getting the helmet.
Cassie is being very accommodating for us right now.
Right? Well, it's because I'm explaining that both timelines are converging. Alright, so that was all unique stage elements with the big trees that you punch through. That's not like anything in Neon Tiger stage. Now, we've suddenly transitioned into parts of
Sting
Chameleon stage. Exactly. And then that's immediately going to start changing up a little bit, because there weren't enemies, and now instead of the swamp, there's spikes and things like that. So, what this game does that I really respect it for, as far as one of the handheld ones goes, is it's blending old and new, instead of just like, is Chill Penguin stage again, except it's a little shorter, because we can't put all of it on a Game Boy cartridge. It's like, good. You know what? That's fine. Especially because it's using assets from stages that weren't covered in general. Oh, and right here, thank you, Pass Me, there was that little ball down there, and then the actual health up there. The actual health is just actual health. The little ball was DNA Soul. And there's versions of it that cover health and ammo, and then there's also just, like, they're rare, but the regular health and regular ammo. And you want to collect those to get kind of the power-ups that work similarly to how they do in X6, which obviously we'll cover when we get to X6.
So, currency?
More or less, yeah.
We're selling souls for items. Fantastic.
Well, yeah, basically.
These are our protagonists, and Neon Tiger is really slow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's interesting to me that you want to start with Neon Tiger in this one, based purely on the fact that he is not challenging in the slightest in this version. Just at all.
Well, like, he's using most of his power output to, you know, power that rave tree in the background.
That makes sense.
He's got to keep the party going, but he just can't speed anymore while doing it.
Ain't no party like a Neon Tiger party because the Neon Tiger's already basically dead.
So what does the flashing indicate?
That's supposed to be... Do you remember in X3 they have, like, the desperation moves? His is he'll, like, charge up and then do, like, a rush forward up the wall, so it's like a big 90-degree angle swipe. In that game, he's invincible during that, and it's, like, super high damage. In this one, I don't even think he's invincible. That might have just been me taking advantage of, like, the end of the attack, but honestly, I don't fucking remember.
Oh, so you don't have the little shotgun thing in this one. You actually have...
Yeah, you have an actual cutting thing, which, that'll come up in the next level. Which will be exciting to see.